Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day,
Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Lady Nakia Wright Show, a life reimagined. Did you miss me? Yes, I missed you. But last week you were in great company. Charmonique Irene rocked the platform with the gift that God has given her. I mean, she was an answer in the earth. And I promise you, I was screaming from the rooftops listening to her give out her wisdom and provide answers. And I hope that you got something out of last week's show and you did not just view it one time, that you went back and viewed it over and over again and you shared it with your social media audience and you invited your friends to join in, because she gave some gems that I promise you're going to see her again. It was just that good, right? Yes, let me ring the bell for Charmy. Thank you for joining in. My name is Lady Nakia Wright. If you're joining via Listen Vision Live, thank you so very much. Our community is growing. I am so very grateful. I could not do this without you. My gratitude is screaming from the mountaintops. Thank you so very much. If you're joining in via our social media platforms, please share this with your audience. Tonight is going to be a dynamic night. I have the one and only, the infamous, the dynamic scholar, the sage, the man of the hour, Bishop Donald Wright, joining me. I am so excited when he shares the platform with me. Our discussion tonight is going to be centered around recovery after the storm. You do not want to miss this. So please make sure you have a couple of minutes before he comes on. Text your friends, hit the share button, do what you got to do, but join. Make sure that everyone you know that has had a storm in their life and they're in a season of recovery, have them join in tonight. Answers will be given. I promise you that. I'm excited again. I wasn't with you last week, and I really did miss you. It is my heart's desire to come before you each and every week to offer you a fresh word, the sentiments of my heart. Many of us are living a life that we never imagined. So in my reimagined life, I'm living to be an answer. So again, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Yes. So listen, today is the 4th day of October. Is it the 4th day? The 3rd day of October? What's today? The 3rd day of October. Are you aware of all of the highlights that's happening in the month of October? The month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is SIDS Awareness Month, and it is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Were you aware that all of those things were taking place in the month of October? Prayer warriors, we need you. These things are on our forefront for a reason. If you are if you are yourselves or someone you know are living with any of these awarenesses that we are highlighting today, SIDS, domestic violence, breast cancer awareness, Down syndrome, please pray for these. Add these to your prayer time. Become an answer in the earth while nobody else is watching. You never know the power and the impact of your prayers. You may not ever know until you get to heaven. But trust me, when you bombard the heavens, you make somebody else's load lighter. So again, I'm calling on my prayer warriors for the month of October. Join me as we pray for the many platforms that are brought forth during the month of October. And also, oh my goodness, like there should be a celebration. October is also Pastor Appreciation Month. Woo! Yes. Being married to a pastor, it is one of those jobs that's a thankless job. They give their entire life, and what they give back is not even 50% of what they give. And they're not in it to receive, they're in it to give. And I take my hat off to anyone who answers the call of being a pastor. It is not an easy assignment, but they do it so graciously. So with everything in me, I salute every pastor that has answered the call. I pray that God answers all of your prayers exceedingly and abundantly of what you can even ask for or think. Pastors are necessary and much needed in the earth. I know that my life is different because of my pastor. He's one of the greatest men that's ever walked the face of this earth, and I am grateful for his yes. So if you have a pastor, make sure during the month of October, well, every month, but we'll just say the month of October, you not only pray for your pastor, you let him or her know how much you appreciate their call. Without them, I don't know where we would be. So, God, I thank you for every pastor that's answered the call. Woo-woo! Come on, October. October is giving so much. Let me tell you something. There is not a lot of free time in the month of October because you're praying for all of these awarenesses and you are calling out your pastor's name daily. We look at them and we feel like they're strong enough to carry the assignment, so we don't pray for them as often as we should, and we look at them as if they never have a down moment, or if life doesn't actually happen for them, that they're invincible. They're human, just like us. So make sure you call their name out every chance you get. And with that being said, my pastor is joining me tonight. Yes. Before we take a break, I do want to ask each and every one of you to mark your calendars for Monday, November the 4th. My good girlfriend, Dr. Kimley King, just put out her recent literary work, Brain Beauty. Yes. And actually, yesterday, she hit the #1 charts on Amazon in the area of beauty. So I'm so excited about it. I called her yesterday screaming from the rooftops like, Lady Kim, you #1. Yes. But I asked a group of dynamic women who absolutely adore Lady Kim to join me on Monday, November the 4th from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. for a Facebook Live Life of Books discussion about her recent literary work. I would love for you to join us via Facebook. It's going to be absolutely dynamic. Myself, along with Dr. Kim, Lady Davis from Highland Park, Lady Wendy Nelson from Baltimore, and Lady Faye Bell. We're all going to sit around the table together, and we are going to discuss this phenomenal read. When anybody has the courage to pen their life on paper, I take much joy, and I make it my business to sit down with them and hear the sentiments of their heart. I do believe that this work is a very timely Wright. It's long overdue. You know her as the celebrity makeup artist, but it's the woman behind the brushes that we're going to get to know on November the 4th. If you have not done so, please do. For the month of October, the book is available on Amazon for $9.99. After October, the book goes up to $19.99. Make sure you snag your copy today. Again, that is Monday, November the 4th, 7 o'clock p.m. I look forward to sharing a moment with you, and it's going to be grand. Host a watch party. It's going to be thebomb.com.org. Stay tuned. We're going to take a brief 30-second break, and when I return, our guest for the evening, Bishop Donald Wright, will be joining me on the platform. Yes.
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out. We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day.
Yes, I'm grinning from ear to ear because I got my boo on the platform with me. Welcome back to the Lady Nakia Wright Show, a life reimagined. I am sharing a moment with my hubby, Bishop Donald Wright. Yes. Okay, listen, y'all don't know this, but Bishop and I just celebrated our 6-year anniversary on Monday. Although we ate hot dogs and potato chips on our anniversary, we still happily married. It's been such a joy sharing life with you. There is never a dull moment. I think one of the greatest things that could have ever happened in my life was that you made me Mrs. Wright. So I'm excited. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Look, I'm like pausing because statistics came out earlier today. I was watching the news and it was about marriage and men picking rings and on and on. How do you know when you found the right lady? And basically, the article said that it's the women that drop all the hints. So after you finished telling me we was gonna get married, I obeyed you.
Whatever. He never even asked to marry me, y'all. He was so confident that I was going to say yes. He just took me to Upper Marlboro and got a marriage license. He never even asked me.
But I never saw you hit the exit button in the car. She never tried to get out the car. It must have been God's will. The marriage license was $70. You know, it's the age of cashless society now. So I looked in my pocket and I had 3 20s and a 10.
Come
Lady
on,
said $70,
Jesus.
and I said, I don't know. That must be a sign
That
or
is
something.
a sign. Yes.
It's a sign.
And he married me on his birthday, so I'm just a gift that just keep on giving. Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm a good follower.
Yeah, listen, whatever. And we have the best church on the planet because they celebrated us on Sunday in grand style. Like, I am still in awe. We're still getting gifts. So they made it so that on Sunday we had a huge celebration. And every day since, we've had a delivery at our home for our anniversary.
It's absolutely fabulous. People don't have to be nice. They don't have to be kind. They don't have to love you. And the house lives in love, and I'm so grateful. I'm really grateful to the point where Sunday it was almost a miracle. I got speechless, So that was. Don't try it.
Listen, I wrote it in my book.
I guess. Shami's behind the scenes, really laughing. Shami, you're laughing really a little bit too hard. It's a little bit too hard.
The thing that I admire about our covenant is that we have not had an easy summer. We had a summer where it felt like I can't catch my breath. It felt like you don't ever question whether or not you're in the will of God. You know that you're in his will. You know that you're in a promised place. You know that this is the process to promise. And however, life has literally taken the wind out of your sail. And for us to still be sitting here and happily married in our hearts, in our home, when no one is looking, out in public saying it loud, is a testament of how good God is. And while we are smiling, we're in a place where storms has happened, and we're in our after the storm moments. And Bishop, I asked you here this evening because this week on our sofa, when I said, babe, I can't breathe, and you shared with me some steps to recovery after the storm. And I wanted today to continue that conversation.
I think that it's so needful, it's so necessary when you reach a place where inexplicably your emotions just go awry, and then you have to deal with life, the part that you like, the part you don't, the part you understand, the part you don't understand. But it's the part that God helps you walk through. And of course, to us, our faith is everything. So I'm a faith-driven individual. I don't really subscribe to much else. But when you get to that place where life happens, and life does happen, you know, whether or not you lose a job, or whether you get a diagnosis from your doctor, or whether the kids are not straight A students anymore, or whether your mother goes home to be with the Lord, or something happens, life happens. And so we were trying to have that conversation a little early this week, that when life happens, the real question then becomes, what's next? Not so much what's next as in what's the next chapter, because everybody's trying to run to their next chapter. Mm-hmm. Well, this is over. The engagement is off. I'm going to find me somebody else. But the reality is that too many of us make hard choices when we're still in a place of recovery.
Yes.
Recovery is not the place to make a new decision. It's just not. I remember when my dad, bless his soul, when my dad had an open heart surgery back in the late 60s, early 70s, when he had open heart surgery, and we were all sitting in the waiting room and waiting for the doctor to come in, and he came in with his scrubs on. He took his mask down, and we was like, okay, give us some good news. And he says, your dad's, he went through, he's fine. I said, can I see him? He said, no, you can't see him now because he's in recovery.
Yes.
I think too many times we have too many people in our recovery.
That's so good.
So the doctor says, wait right here. You can't see him now because he's in recovery. What's best for him, and this is the hard part, is not to be with you right now.
That's good.
He's going to get along better if you just give him a minute for his body to now function in what's known as new norm.
Yes.
He will never be the same individual that he was before they tore open his chest and cracked open and went in there and pulled his heart out and then put it back. Sure, he's the same man, not psychologically. When you have that much psychological trauma, when you go through divorce, when you get expelled from college, when you go through cancer and come out on the other side, you are not the same mental person that you was when you went in. When you're ready to start a business and you have to file bankruptcy, you are not the same. And I think that what we're doing is that we rush through the stages and the time of our recovery, and we never heal fully. So we go into the next marriage, and so we give this person the best version of us, which is only 50% because we're still broken.
Yes.
We never recovered, and so the little things make us fly off the handle. Oh my God, the light bill is due. Here I go again. But I thought you was with somebody new, so you're still going again because you're still in the old relationship.
Oh.
So you've not entered into a full walk of recovery, and I think that that's important.
Wow. One of the things that we discussed was right where we are in the vulnerability of our moments. Who would you allow to walk through the threshold of our front door right now? Who would you allow in your space to see you in your recovery days, since that's the word that we're using. At the time, you couldn't have told me that I wasn't broken. Who would you allow in your brokenness right now? And he said, that is who you determine who your tribe is.
Yeah, I think I used probably. I should follow your lead because I think I used a different verbiage. I don't know. Should I say that?
Yes, absolutely.
I was saying that when a woman gives birth, and she has her doctors there, and life is happening, and her hair is a mess, and the baby's coming, and the afterbirth is all here.
And your legs is wide open.
Yeah,
up in the air. I mean, it's just
life
a whole
is,
show.
Okay, who would you have in your delivery space? Because those might be the people that you need, and everybody else needs to be excluded until you recover.
Yes.
Those that you cannot trust with your intimate secrets, who will guard you when you're vulnerable, are the people that should be in your recovery space. Because right now, I don't even really, back to the one when the woman gives birth, it's not a time for your girlfriend to tell you, jump up and get your hair done, baby, you'll feel better. I just delivered something.
Yes.
I don't want no hair done. I don't want no meal. I just want to understand what just happened.
Yes.
And when life happens, I think we jump up from the place that it happened, and without reconciling to our own heart that I'm okay, it's going to be all right, and the little loss of blood didn't kill me, and I'm going to catch my breath. And we jump right out of trouble back into life before we catch our breath, and that makes us vulnerable.
That's very good. How do you get back? How do you get to know yourself all over again? Because when life happens, psychologically, you never fully recover from that place. You and I spoke about this earlier, and I use Job as my reference. We always focus from a preacher's standpoint. We always focus from the point that Job received double for what he went through. But how can you enjoy double when you lost everything? You lost all your kids. You lost everything of value to you. How do you enjoy double with a new mindset and you lost everything?
Well, you're going to throw me under the bus on this one because I'm going to get so many text messages. It's going to be almost hate mail.
Y'all leave my husband alone. I'll fight for him.
There you go.
I'll
see there. I'm trying to tell y'all
Spirit
that
of Peter
woman don't play.
will rise up.
That woman don't play. I don't preach Job often because I don't understand the book. I understand that it is a poetic book in some of its writings, but I don't really understand the book. And I'd be very transparent and vulnerable right here saying it. I don't preach the book of Job often, but I do take a lot of his wisdom because I don't know what it is to wake up in the morning and all 7 of my sons are dead.
Can't imagine that.
And 3 of my daughters, and they all died at the same time. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is to bury my whole family in a day.
Yes.
And afterwards, the only message I can get out of it is don't worry. God going to give you a double portion.
What?
He going to give you double for your trouble. I don't want double for my kids' death.
Yes.
I don't. I don't want my house to burn up. I don't want my cattle to die. In that day, that's what he had. That means all of our businesses are shut down. And I don't want my wife to look at me and say, you're a fool. Why don't you just curse God and die? I don't want to live in a house where my family is suggesting that I curse the Creator. So I don't preach that message because I don't comprehend it. I don't know what it is to lose all of my children. I mean, I feel bad if they don't give me a Christmas card.
Yeah.
So I'm not the Job guy.
It ain't gonna be no pastors preaching Job on Sunday.
No, but we preach it, and the pews are live. But don't worry, God gonna give you back all that you lost.
That.
Wait, hold on a minute.
Can't bring my babies back.
Hold on a minute. My father died when my oldest son was 6 months old. I remember him playing with him on the bed, and my dad was on his knees beside the bed because Donald was a chubby baby, and he was just rolling him back and forth, and Donald thought that was the funniest thing. I can't imagine burying him and his brothers and his sister. I can't imagine that. And then in 20 minutes time in church, I've gotten over my crisis because God's going to give me double for my trouble. Let's go on to something I can relate to. So I'm a man of faith. So the book tells me, let's just skip over that because I don't know about that. And, but I do know this, that when Job did ask questions, and God asked him, where were you when I hung the stars in the sky? And where were you? It's not that I haven't read the book. Job, where were you when I did all that I do? The Bible said that Job put his hand over his mouth. Said, man, I got nothing else to say because I think that I've said too much, even though I've lost because God is sovereign. I get all of that. But I was just this week at home, and I was meditating. I was meditating the flood, and that's kind of above my pay grade as well. But I was meditating the flood when Noah built the ark. And when Noah built the ark, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, true enough. But Noah was in the ark almost a year. Keep following the study because the waters had not receded yet. So there was no place to go until when your storm is over, you have to wait until the passageway is clear.
That's good.
Okay, so the text says that the first thing that Noah did was he sent a raven out. And I don't know, we don't always know what ravens are, but it's a blackbird or a crow. But it's a dirty bird, okay? Fast forward, after that, he sent a dove out. The point that when you have crisis, your better judgment is not clean. You send out what's expendable, and he sent the dirty bird out first.
Wow.
Selah. He did. He sent out a not so great choice while he was recovering in his trauma. 40 days, 40 nights of rain, and everything that he knew, all of his friends' homes, his home, all of his businesses, everything that he knew that was his norm is gone. You can't tell me that psychologically that doesn't bother you. It doesn't put you in a state that if we was to go home tonight and everything that we have is gone, that we're going to be okay in the morning. We'll all stay at Sharmi's house and we'll all be fine. You don't wake up fine in the morning after you lost everything. And my heart aches because it's difficult to have this conversation. If someone, a loved one passes away and 8 years later, someone tells you, why are you still struggling with that? Why don't you get over that? It's not as easy as you may think. I was reminded of a conversation that I heard. One of the greater preachers of our time in Los Angeles, his wife died, and this was back in the 70s. And I was a much younger man, and his wife died. And she had been dead for about 5 years. But he had been married for about 45, maybe 50 years, and he was an older man. And one of his friends said, man, listen, you had a good life with her. And he went down the whole litany of reasons why to move on. He says, so get yourself together, man, move on, live the rest of your life. He said, let me help you with something. My relationship was like a sweater. We were well knitted.
That's good.
If I tear my emotions away from it, I'll damage the garment.
Wow.
It has to have a natural process of its own.
That's good.
And so after the storm, whatever the storm is, but it's not a pleasant conversation to have because we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the stigma that comes with me once I've been a substance abuser. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh my God, look at Bob. He's been off of the alcohol now for 9 years. Okay, so now you're counting my past? So I'm not ever going to be good enough, because if I ever have a car accident, or if I ever mismanage my money, or if my wife and I ever have a disagreement, you think that I'm going to run out the house and get a drink. You're still labeling me by where I've been.
That's good.
And it's not a fair assessment. Now, all of that being observed says this, that most of us run into our shell because we haven't found anybody that we trust to love us enough with our truth.
That's good. If you were to give 5 steps of how to handle your mind in recovery, what 5, and it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 7, but what steps would you advise somebody to take in the recovery process as they work towards moving back to a new place of wholeness?
The first thing that I would say would be to recognize that the trouble came and it hit me as hard as it could. And number one, I'm still alive.
Hey, I'm still here.
I'm still alive. Now, no. True enough. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, but I'm still here.
Yes, celebrate that.
It's like being shot, with a gun, and you go and you wake up out of recovery and you go, wow, I'm still here.
I'm still alive.
Okay, so take it in, breathe, that this didn't destroy you. And then give yourself a minute to process what happened. I went through, it was painful. I'm on the other side of what, and the other side to do what. I'm here. Take a minute. I think that my greatest, my faith leads me all the time, and I really sense the presence of the Lord to say this to somebody watching. It's okay to give yourself permission to process. You don't owe nobody an explanation as to how your mind and your heart works. You ready? This is now all about you.
Amen.
It's all about you. If you feel like moving forward, go. If you need a pause, take the pause. So give yourself permission to process. After that, accept this to be truth, that life as you knew it here is different now. It's different. Whether it's a divorce is a death all by itself.
That's
good, it literally is. It's a death. Something dies and something has to be resurrected in order for you to move on. Whether it's your business, whether your 401k is down to 39.5, and I don't know what it is, but you have to give yourself permission to understand. Else, you'll be doing yourself more harm than good. It'll be self-inflicted wounds. Because you didn't give yourself permission, trying to go real fast to keep up with folks who are going somewhere without you. I get fascinated riding down the street. You see folks taking selfies in their cars. Everybody wants to take a picture of me. And what I want to know is, what's wrong with you that you have to redefine you every 20 minutes? There's something there that was never solidified or never valued or was never spoken up for. It might be a lack of trust. Maybe you just haven't got to the place where you trust the right people to validate you if that's what you need. But whatever it is, take the time to listen to your own heartbeat.
Yes.
Because after the storm is a dangerous place to try to move forward. Find out what just happened. Find out how much damage is done. You want to know what's something interesting right now? What's interesting right now is most of us, especially that live in a different region, most of us have forgotten the name Katrina.
That's the truth.
It was on the news media, but there are thousands of people that haven't forgot Katrina. And you know what? The rest of us have moved on with our life and forgot them.
Yeah.
And there after the storm is still real. They lost their homes, their businesses. Many of them lost their families. The Bahamas, what do they have? Still 500 people unaccounted for.
Jesus.
500 souls unaccounted for. Water came in, water came out, sun came out. It's a sunny day in the Bahamas today. For those of us that didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
But what about the families that can't find Uncle Jim? Can't find Daddy, can't find Mama. What do we do? What do they do with their after the storm? That to us, because of where we live, may seem far-fetched, but my question is, what do you do? What do you do? Why blame the disorder in the house on the kids? You all didn't wash the dishes. You all didn't clean your room. I get the responsibility part, but what's really wrong? Why put your hand on a woman who serves you? Why would a man beat a woman? Why would a man beat a woman? You want to fight somebody? Listen, there's a street down there about 4 blocks. Why would a man put his hand on a woman to prove I'm a man? Didn't you know that when you woke up this morning?
How about that?
So the real question is, what's the real problem? No. What's the real? You came through some kind of storm. Call it childhood. Call it abuse, call it neglect, call it single parenting. I don't know what you want to call it. But until we address those internal issues, you church folk, you can dance on them, you can shout on them. It's amazing. You don't speak to your husband, your wife, all the way to church, and then you get in church and dance and clap and tell them how good God is, and then you can't take a good God back in the car on the way home. What's really wrong?
What's really wrong?
No, what's really wrong? What's really, really, really wrong? And then have that conversation with your own heart.
The one thing that I learned in the process of walking with you, sir, is asking the right questions. In recovery, you have to ask questions of truth in order to get the real answers. Oftentimes, we want to escape from our own reality because the pain of it was so deep that escape is the easiest thing to do. And we don't address the real issues because of the pain that's still associated with it. Memory holds us in bondage. The storm is over, but our memory is still there every single day. And that is the thing that we have to recover from the most.
And I think that you have to live with your personal diagnosis and life prescription. By that I mean this. My father was a diabetic, and he was an alcoholic for the beginning part of his life. When he passed away, he was not an alcoholic because he made a choice. He went to the doctor, and the doctor says, listen, your sugar is way up, it's way up, it's way up. And he says, tell you what, let's get to the point. If you drink, you're going to die. If you quit, you'll live. My father told the doctor, last night was my last drink. He never went through anything. He said, last night was my last. But now, for me, I'm not diabetic. That's not my issue. But he had to live with his diagnosis. The things that do you harm, you have to choose to be with them or be without them.
You have to choose.
Whatever that might be, whatever your diabetic situation or scenario is, you have to choose. Yes. Choose life.
Choose life.
That's what he says. I said before you an open door. I said life and choose life. God didn't make us choose. He said, I'll set it right here. Choose life.
Yes. And that's where the courage comes in, because no one can do that for you. That is something that you and only you can do that. And you have to love yourself enough. You have to trust your future and your promise enough to know that if you choose life, that although this is your new norm, there is some happy days on the other side of where we are now.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a happy after this.
Absolutely. And that's where your hope comes in with your faith, because I don't know whether it's going to be Tuesday or Thursday, but I do know that it's coming. I know that I'm better than staying in this rut for the rest of my life.
Yes. And listen, when life happens, we often feel guilty for being happy. Don't ever feel it, because that is your portion. That is what's promised to you. While it may be your new norm, happiness is a choice, and it is for all of us.
I so agree. I think because oftentimes many of us have lived through something that has killed somebody else.
Yes.
Driven them to suicide,
Yeah.
driven them to bad choices. They get drunk, they go to the club to do this, or they do things that's ill-advised, or they'll just rip and run around the road 100 miles per hour or whatever. But we've lived through the weight of life and come out on the other side. And now you have to have the courage to be first. Everybody can't, or I shouldn't say, doesn't have the courage to be first. Be the first one in your family to go to college. Be the first one in your family to have a 7-figure income. Be the first one in your family that gives 10 people in your family a job. Be the first one to pay them goodly wages. Be the first one. Be the one that has the courage to be first. So if anybody's going to talk about something, they're going to talk about how good of a comeback story you really are.
Come on, Dr. Wright.
If you're going to talk about me, you're going to say, I thought he was dead. But look, we buried him here and he rose up somewhere else, okay? We thought that this was over, but all of a sudden he reinvented himself. He reinvented himself.
I'm a good comeback story.
Be
Come
a
on,
good
sir.
comeback story. Be so blessed until everybody's mouth is not shut, it's wide open, because they can't believe it's you, because they thought you was dead. They even prophesied you wouldn't make it, but when you made it on the other side, they'll look and say, oh my God, how did their family come out? Because I didn't quit. When the storm was over, I took time to reassess why it happened, where it took me, and how to be great from here.
Yes. Man. Come on, sir.
I don't know. Where the offering basket at? Yeah, so reassess how to be great from here.
How to be great
What's
from
next
here.
with my life? I refuse to serve everybody's dream all my life. Time for me to serve my dream now. Time for me to serve my dream. Let me help you with something. Everybody's looking for a suddenly moment. Oh, you don't worry. I was watching one of my brothers, and I love him. And he was on his program, and he said, you know what? God's going to give you a suddenly moment. He was in the TV studio. He said, God's going to give you a suddenly moment. God's going to give you a suddenly moment. And I thought about that. Suddenly takes a while.
Come on, Bishop.
After you've suffered a while, then God establishes you.
Suddenly takes a while.
Suddenly doesn't happen suddenly.
Oof.
Suddenly takes a while.
God, I thank you.
Yeah, I know in the day of Pentecost, but they had been waiting for that to happen. Even way back, Joel prophesied that your sons and your daughters would prophesy, your young men, your old men. So suddenly takes a while. Just don't be weary and well doing. But when suddenly happens, there's another book.
Woo.
When suddenly happens, assess whether or not you're ready for greatness, and then run to your greatness singularly, because it's yours.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be first.
Don't be afraid to be first.
Wow.
Ooh, come on,
Somebody
trailblazers.
had told me that years ago.
Yes, Bishop. You are giving answers. You are saving lives today.
I don't know. It cost me my life.
So, listen.
Yeah, it cost everything that you have to try to understand where you're going. Yeah, I mean, that's what, see, all through the scriptures, and I won't get into this, but there's always two men. There's always you and a you. See, Paul said, when I would do good, there was an evil present. Evil wasn't the devil. Evil is anything that takes me away from the plan of God. Okay, so I like to play golf, but I also like to worship. So for me to, I just had a recent choice. Our golf club had an event. And so the tournament is, who's the best golfer of the year and all that. And I wanted to enter into the event. But it was a 2-day event. It was Saturday and Sunday. So I couldn't enter the event, because for me to go and play golf on Sunday, when God called me to pastor, I would personally hold as evil.
That's good.
Because it takes me away from the design plan for my life. I didn't say golf was evil. It would take me away from the plan. So I have to play on the days when it's conducive for my life commitment. So when I would do good, evil is present. So I said that to say this, that back in the same time, Nimrod built a city Abraham went to look for one. Okay. Israel had two mountains, Gibeon, Zion. The tabernacle of Moses was on Gibeon. David took the ark up on Zion. There's always two men. It's too late today to even talk about that. There's always two present. And it can work for your good or work for your bad. And so most of us need to follow the faith of Abraham, where when God brings you to a good place, ask, what is it for? I'm still looking for my promise, looking for a city whose builder and maker is God. Abraham was anything but poor, but he was still looking for the designed place for his life. So that when God brings you out, when he brings you out, lastly, stop apologizing for being great. Girl, that's a nice outfit. That dress is killer dress. Oh, this little thing, I got it on sale. It's so old. That dress is, thank you. Just don't apologize for being great. You didn't apologize for the tears.
Listen.
You didn't apologize for the fire. You didn't apologize for the storm. And everybody that's complimenting you didn't run in the storm to save you.
That's the truth.
You owe them no explanation for your success.
Oh, my goodness.
Get on the plane, fly first class to wherever you want to go, cross your legs, and take a God nap and tell him thank you for better days that have come.
Yes, Lord.
I hope I didn't embarrass you.
Listen, you are blessing my soul. I am enjoying this immensely. One of the things that you have to keep in mind when you're on your road to success, when you are striving for greatness, is that there are generations following you, that you're creating a path and you are breaking down barriers that they won't have to fight. Your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews can stand on the legacy that you built. So you not quitting is making their path to greatness easier. And you have to, that's one of the things that you keep in mind as you mark success in your mind. If you, on the days that I don't feel like doing this, on your I'm ready to quit days, remember that child that you gave life to, those nieces and nephews that you're looking for, if you don't conquer this battle, if you don't conquer this storm, they're going to have to fight it. We are after breaking curses.
Right.
We are after living lives and conquering them in a successful way so the ones behind us won't have to fight battles we failed at.
That is so good. They won't have to fight the battles that we failed. And if you allow them to win, they will be reoccurring. Most people think that when David fought Goliath, that was the first time that a Philistine had boasted and bragged. Not true. Go back to 1 Samuel. Go back in the book, 16 chapters. Go back at least 15 chapters, and you will see that the Philistines invaded, excuse me, and when Eli heard that the Ark of the Covenant was stolen, he fell backwards off the fence, and he broke his neck, as if to say, life without God is not worth living.
Yes.
But they failed to get victory over the Philistines, and they came back again.
Jesus.
The thing that you let live, it's just some water, I'm good. The thing that you let live will come back because it will feel like it owns that space. That's what Jesus said. He said, when an unclean spirit is cast out, it seeks rest
tonight, sir.
and it finds no rest. And it says, I know what I'll do. I'll go back to my house. He'll call you his house, an unclean spirit. And he will take with him some help so he don't ever get pulled out no more. And he will take with him 7 other spirits more. So you only started out with 1, and then you'll end up with 8. No. So you have to drive out everything that your children and their children and children's children will not have to face and confront.
Come on,
you
sir.
Running from it leaves it for your children to fight. You can't run anymore.
This is good.
After the storm, figure out, where did the Lord elevate you?
Yes.
That is the process of an eagle. Eagles hope for wind. I did a conference.
It's good, sir.
We're out of time. I did a conference in California, out in the mountains. And I did the morning session, and it was my assignment to do the evening session as well. And I had the afternoon off. And outside of my villa, we was up in the mountains, and outside of my villa was a little walkway, a little path, but we was high up in the mountains. So I walked and I sat on top of a rock, and I just was catching the sights. And I looked, and way off in the distance, there was an eagle. Never saw him take off. He was way off in the distance, but I saw him glide. And he went way down in the canyon as if he was looking for lunch. And then he did something with his wings, and he rode the wind high again. And he soared. I watched him for about an hour. It was the most fascinating thing. And my point is, when the wind is blowing, just adjust your wings.
That's good.
And see where the wind takes you.
That's good.
Just see where the wind is one of the 7 things in the text that represents the Holy Spirit: the water, the wind, the dove, the fire. Okay, wind. When the wind is blowing, find out where he's taking you. And then after your storm, you will not be the place where you was.
Amen.
You get this together, Mom. Dad, trust me. You're going to be the first one in your family to ever leave this mark in the earth.
Amen. Amen.
Thank God for water.
Thank God for water. Sir, thank you so very much for your wisdom. Thank you for your information, your knowledge, the anointing that's on your life. Thank you for being so free to share it. I do feel and believe that this word touched not only my life, but somebody else's life that is listening. If by chance it did, and you want to continue the conversation, please feel free to join us on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m. I attend one of the greatest churches on the East Coast. We have service at 7001 Belts Drive in Forestville, Maryland. We look forward to hosting you and worshiping and fellowshipping with you. I believe that it's a life-changing atmosphere each and every week. So again, service is at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. This guy is the bomb, let me tell you. On behalf of myself, my husband, this great guy right here, 6 years in, lifetime to go. Thank you for joining us. If you don't remember anything that we said, remember the sentiments of Bishop's heart. Leave your mark in the earth. Again, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Remember, mark your calendars for November 4th. We're having a Life of Book session with Dr. Kim Lee on her recent literary work. I'll see you Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Until then, be blessed. Amen.
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day